Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Football Manager Therapy. I'm your host, Matt, Tony, Rich, Jebaroo. That's me. I'm Jebaroo, and I'm joined by another 2/3 of the FM team. To my window, it's Kev. How are we?
Hello, Jebaroo. I'm doing fantastically well, thank you. It's actually been a real fun week. I've had a lot of fun. We will cover why it was a lot of fun in a lot of ways through this podcast. But yeah, I'm doing good. Happy to be here. It's a little bit weird without Rich, isn't it? But we're going to get through, and it's going to be great. Good to see you both.
Fantastic.
Words hard.
No, it's all right. You did fine. It's fine. We'll get through this. We'll get through this, as Daniel Bedingfield once said. Speaking of Daniel Bedingfield, he had a goatee. Callum kind of has one, so there he is. Look, hi Callum, you down there? See, look, he's there.
Okay, yeah, I'm good, thanks. I've had an interesting week as well, just like Kev said. I wasn't expecting to be called Daniel Bedingfield. I have been slightly thrown there. However, great musician. I also like Natasha Bedingfield. Natasha. It's the other Bedingfield.
Natasha, yeah. Her words were unwritten, so.
That's the one.
But she still produced loads of songs. I don't understand it. But
it doesn't make any sense. I don't know a name, but huge fan. How about you, Jeb?
I'm all right. It's cold and miserable outside, and I love it. It's great.
Same.
I'm much happier when it's like that, to be totally truthful. I hate heat.
Yeah, I think the issue I've had this week is obviously because we've been doing playoffs and stuff like that. This room's quite small, and it just gets warmer and warmer. And just by the end of it, I walk out there, and it's like going out into the Antarctic. It's brilliant. So, so that's how my week's gone. Anyway, let's go back into a little bit of a semblance of a show here, and we're gonna do a save update. And the save update's going to come from dum 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 dum. Imagine there's flashing lights everywhere. Dum 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 dum. It's Kev.
Yay! I tell you what, it feels like it's been about 4 months since I did one of these. I've been waiting to do this for a while, and I actually can't remember where I was last time I was talking about it. I think, here's what I seem to remember. We did the episode which was all about hypothetically I could get out of Hungary. Mm-hmm. And then the following week, it was just myself and Jeb. And I mentioned that I had got out of Hungary and that I was now in Serbia. And that's where I was, I think. So strap yourself in, boys, because it's going to be a wild ride. This one's a fun one. So I went to Serbia. I got the best job in Serbia. It was a very, very easy ride because they'd won the last 2 or 3 championships and then their bloke retired, basically. So that was why their job became available. So I went to Crvena Zvezda in Serbia, Red Star Belgrade, and we won the league at a canter in the first season, and it was incredibly lovely. I basically went in, plugged the thing in, watched the team that he'd set up play for a season, and they did brilliantly, and I won the league, and so we had to move on. I'm getting a bit of a reputation for myself for resigning positions, though, now that I've gone into about my 5th country, so that's a bit of an issue. But because there was a bit of a problem in that there were a couple of the countries around Serbia that weren't in the vanilla game for me to move into, I had to make a choice as to where I went next. And what we decided was, because we'd won the league so comfortably, we would jump across the water a little bit and go into Italy. And so that's where we went next. So there were a couple of other options, but we chose Italy. So I then got a job really quite quickly in the summer in Italy with Fiorentina. They'd finished like 10th and 8th the previous couple of seasons, so they weren't in a particularly amazing spot, but it was a decent entry point into Serie A, I thought. So in we went into the first season, and actually we did pretty well. I mean, I bought in a 6'6" target forward, and he wasn't my tallest target forward because I also bought a 6'9" target forward in as well. And the two of them in rotation in a 2-man strike force were fantastic. They just did brilliantly well. And that propelled me to 4th position with Fiorentina in the first season that I was there, which was really great considering where they'd been. I thought, we're onto something. We can invest in the squad a little bit in the summer. And, it was quite it was quite a simple ride in that first season. We did all right. because we didn't have any European football, I think, and so it just kind of took out some of the games that you'd have to play, and we did fine. We got to 4th. Because of that, of course, we then go into the Champions League for the following season, which again allows you to attract better players in that summer. And we had a good summer. I'd improved my midfield a little bit. I had a bit more of a combative midfielder that I brought in called Roberto, who was my sort of defensive holding player, who I thought was going to improve my squad and all that kind of stuff. So then we started the second season. Remember, if we do more than 3 seasons in a country, you have to move sideways and not forward. So we've got on a little bit of a time restraint. So we start season number 2, and I've got the fixture list up in front of me for season number 2 because it's a little while ago, because we've moved on since here as well. So it was interesting. It was a mixed start, but about 10 games into the season, we had a patch where we were playing very big teams across both the Champions League group stage and the Serie A. So the run of fixtures that I'm looking at, we had PSG in the Champions League, then Napoli and Juve back-to-back in Serie A, then we had Liverpool in the Champions League, and then a game after Genoa, we had Inter Milan, and then a game after that, we had Lazio. So that run of form was really hard. And actually, we didn't do terribly. We got a win against Juve in the league, which I was surprised about, a draw against Napoli. But other than that, we did tend to lose quite, most of the other games in that run. What it meant was that at 13 games into the league season, we were in 14th position, which I was disappointed with, but I could see that the next run of fixtures was going to be much, much better for us. And I thought, we can turn this around. There's still a really good team in here. We just need a little bit of momentum, and then we'll go off on one and it'll be fine for the remainder of the season. The board called me into the boardroom and suggested that we're not happy with you being in 14th. This was actually a couple of games before, and said, what are you going to do about it? I said, give us some time. It'll be fine. We'll improve. There's fixtures coming up. Okay, fine. Couple of games later, we played Lazio and we drew 2-2, and the board brought me back in. And they said, Kev, after 13 games of the season, you have failed to qualify for the European spots, even though you're 6 points off them and there's still 2/3 of the seasons to go. Your job is at risk. What would you like to do about it? I said, well, we've got some really favourable fixtures coming up. That bad run is now gone. That's the last of them. There's really good stuff coming. They went, yeah, we're going to sack you anyway. And they booted me out of the club. A season and a bit into a run where I got 4th and into Europe for the first season. And in the second season, I'd just gone for a really hard run. And I failed after 13 matches to qualify for the Europa League. What's all that about, for goodness sake? Now, what I actually think it is it's just a really poorly worded thing that they were saying, you're not in and around the Europa League spots and we're cross about it. I get that kind of, but it's not what they said to me at all. So I was kind of stunned by that. But I thought, okay, it is what it is. They've decided. They actually went on a reasonably good run of form after they got rid of me, because they had some very good games that they could bring somebody new into. I reckon I could do that too. And there we left Fiorentina behind ultimately. So the next issue that I had was that in Serie A, you can't have more than one management position in any given season. I didn't know that, actually, if I'm totally honest.
Another one of those Serie A stupid rules, like
it seems to be.
I think the one that I raised was the 2 non-EU players that you're allowed to register each season, but it all counts on who comes through the door first.
It does. Yeah. It's so weird. So I try and avoid that and just buy EU players in if I can. But yeah, so apparently this is a rule. I didn't know it. I found out about it when I tried to apply for a couple of jobs that were reasonable and got nowhere near it because they wouldn't allow me to apply for it. So I had to then move through the rest of that season. Bearing in mind, we were 13 games in. It was quite a lot left of that season. So we went through to that the end of that season. Then the summer came round and nothing came up in that summer, which was a little bit disappointing. I think I got offered every single international job under the sun because World Cup happened or something that meant that, all the jobs rotated round. I got offered all of them, didn't take any of them. So I went into the following season. Now, bearing in mind that means I've had Fiorentina for a season and a bit, and this becomes my third season in Italy, technically now. So I was waiting for a decent opportunity. In March, so we've gone quite a long way into the season, the Lazio job became available. Now, if you remember, they were the team I played last to lose my job at Fiorentina. But it was the best job I thought was going to come up for a while. You know, Juve were on a tear, Inter were on a tear, AC Milan were doing great. I didn't think any of those were going to come up in any, anytime soon. So I decided to apply for the Lazio job. And in the end, I got it, which is good. You know, they had been a little bit average through the season. They were in about 8th when I found them. They were, I think, due for about a 4th or 5th place finish, something like that. So they were obviously underperforming, and they'd got rid of their guy. So we had about 2 or 3 months of the season left. And what I discovered was he'd been slightly harshly treated because, okay, 8th in the league isn't great. They were still in the Champions League knockout stage, and they were still in the Italian Cup knockout stage as well. So we had those 3 months to play about with the squad, figure out what they had. I plugged in a 4-3-3 basically, and, you know, tweaked a little bit on the actual style of play, but thought let's keep it fairly simple and just see what we've got. And what we had was a few players that are decent. They've got a very good striker called Americo, who is a brilliant Brazilian guy who was scoring lots of goals. They've got a great couple of fullbacks. They needed a little bit of work in the defensive, central defensive area and stuff, but I thought they were all right. So we played through the 3 months. Excuse me. And for about the first 6 weeks, you get the new manager bounce, and it really did. We rocketed up the league. We got up into about top 4 quite comfortably, quite quickly. And then all of a sudden, we played. Now, let me just confirm this. I'm going to go and find my schedule for Lazio now, because there's too many teams involved in this particular update. So let's go to Lazio and back a season. Yep. Right. Okay. So we did well. We got off to a good start. We beat Real Madrid in the knockout stages of the Champions League and went through that. I thought, okay, we're in 2039 by this stage. So you never know how good these teams are actually going to be through the AI and stuff. And then we played our Italian Cup semi-final against Fiorentina. Now, we lost the first leg against them 3-2. And I thought, okay, that's not great. But we actually did come back and win in the second leg and go through. But that loss to Fiorentina completely turned our form around for the second half of those 3 months, the 6 weeks to end the season. And having won back-to-back about 4 or 5 matches and doing really well with a couple of draws in there, for the rest of the season, the last half a dozen, 8 matches were draw, loss, and then a win to finish the season in. And in all of that, we lost the Italian Cup final to Juve. Yeah. We lost in the Champions League semi-final to Liverpool. Okay. And eventually thanks, Jeb. We eventually dropped a little bit in the league as well, and eventually finished in 6th. So we got European qualification for the Europa League, and we'd done reasonably well in the Cup. So I thought, actually, that's not bad. That's a decent start. We got them where they roughly wanted to be. So we went through this last summer, because I'm now in the following season, and we had a lovely time. A week or so ago from now, for all of a sudden in this save where I've been going through Eastern Europe and struggling for finance and all that stuff, Lazio went, have 100 million to spend. And I went, okay, I can do that. And they said, oh, have about 650K a week in your wage budget that you can put in as well if you want to. So I rejigged it and moved it all about and reshaped it, spent 225 million in all sorts of different places across the squad, had an absolutely lovely time doing it. I think I sold about 85 million pounds worth of stuff as well, because there was a bit of deadwood in the squad. And I was really happy with it. My 4 friendly fixtures were 7-0, 9-0, 9-0, and 8-0, including an 8-0 win over Shakhtar. And I thought, that's decent. That looks pretty good. And then it just carried on. We went into the league and we won about the first 10 games in a row without any problems at all. In the Champions League, we got through to the knockout stage. Europa League, we're into the league stages. We got a couple of very good wins there. Actually, our run of fixtures in the Europa League is going to be pretty good for us, I think. And we've made it through to the midwinter break as we speak here in Lazio. Now, we were joint top of the league with Inter Milan, leading into the run-in for the first half of the season. We were sitting about 8 points clear of Juve, who were down in third, the two of us, and we were keeping up with them. And then we played Spal about 3 or 4 games out from the end of that first half of the season, and we got a draw. And it just knocked us a little bit because up until that, we'd been winning so much. And Inter Milan just got a couple of points ahead of us. And I thought, okay, that's unfortunate. A bit of a silly result. But the problem is the next 2 games in the league were Juve and Roma. So that's Juve, last season's champions, and Roma, our direct local rivals, of course. And we lost both of those games 1-0 each. And so all of a sudden, you've gone from sitting top of the table leading up to the halfway point of the season to being like 6 points behind Inter Milan, and Juve about 2 points behind you, coming up really quickly on you. And all of a sudden, it feels like you've just dropped a little bit. So in the last couple of streams, we went through that winter transfer window and just asked the question, where can we improve? We've obviously had a little bit of a dip in form. We need to get that back again. We're still in a really great position. There's a chance here, if we get off to a good start in the second half, we can push this. But how do we improve? So we actually made a couple of signings. I brought a new right winger in, getting rid of a central midfielder that I wasn't using at all. He was just like 5th in the central midfielder list. I took him out and brought a new winger in because we need more rotation there. And then I found a player. Oh, did I find a player? So I found a new player. I'm just going to go and find him. His name is, forgive me for this, Dmitry Radovic. And he is a Bosnian player. He's 23 years old, plays either on the left wing or as a striker. His physicals are 17, 17, 16, 6, 17, 17, 16, 13. That'll do. His mentals, he's got a 17, a 19, a 16, an 18, a 16, an 18. I've never seen a player like this in my save so far. I've been dealing with like 14s if you're lucky most of the time. And he's got a good finish on him, good dribble, good first touch, good technique. And he was worth about £70 million. And I thought, I can do this, because just before the January window, my board went, have some more money because the finances are so good. And I went, thank you very much. So I put a bid in for him and they turned it down. And I put another one in and renegotiated and they kind of turned it down. And I went, I really want this player. So I went all in. £170 million deal in installments and payments, and 3 years from now I'll still be doing your garden for you if you want, or whatever I could put in there. I could try to put in there. It was only about a 50 million upfront fee, or 70 million maybe, something like that. So I could afford to do it. As we speak, gentlemen, at the end of yesterday's stream, yesterday afternoon, we put the bid in. We got to the point where we are going to play Inter Milan in the next Serie A match. And I went, I'll see you on Monday. So nobody knows whether he's going to sign or not, because I still don't know whether he's going to sign or not. But I blooming well hope he is, because if he does, he's an absolute superstar. And I've already got a couple of them in my squad. It's been a real fun ride with Lazio. I have no idea whether I'm going to win this title this season, because Inter Milan are now ahead of me quite significantly. But it's been a wild ride. Unfortunately, this is season number 4 in Italy. So we are going to have to move sideways. So my journey into France is not going to happen at this point to get across to England through the Channel Tunnel. We're going to have to go the long way round. So the sideways move is actually going to be Austria. And because we go to Austria, I think that then blocks us from France by Switzerland and Germany, I believe. My geography is not amazing, to be totally honest. But it means I'm going to have to go through a couple of those to get back to France, to get through the Channel Tunnel, to get into England, to win the whole thing. So there's still a long way to go. It's been an awful long time so far, it feels like, but a real fun ride. And I'm really enjoying my Lazio time because it's a completely different style of game than I've been playing since November of last year, totally. And now we'll see what happens. Whatever happens, if I win Serie A at some point, I'm going to basically hold out for the best Austria job that there is potentially. Try and do another one and done and move into Germany as quick as possible and then move on again, so we'll see. So it's still going. I might have to take it into FM24. Who knows? We're trying. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm just not sure that Inter are ready to let me win the title this season, but we'll see. So there you go. That's my update. It's been a real wild ride, but I'm having a lot of fun in Lazio.
So I've got 2 questions slash points. First question slash point is, you do know that airplanes exist. You could just fly back from Italy to England. So, as if you've not considered this bit.
Okay, this was mentioned to me in my very first stream back in November, I can assure you. Why are you bothering? Just get on a plane and go home. I said, I've got no money. I have to earn my way. They said, well, hitchhike or do something. So, yeah.
I've got a third point now, actually. Also, this is something that maybe you do take into FM24 if you want to do it again, that you just go to clubs in various countries, but you just destroy their finances and then just walk away once you've won the league. Just leave them in the wake. They're just in financial ruin. Kev's been in. He's ruined us. He's ruined us now. He's ruined everywhere else he's gone through. Just like
my record is actually pretty good financially across the other teams that I've been. And I think it'll be okay with Lazio because whatever I finish this season in will probably reset my finances enough to move on. So I think it'll be okay. But it is like a completely different ball game. It really is. Just having that sort of money just changes everything. So yeah.
I'm a third point as I'm entering my 6th season in Serie A with Pescara. And we got Europe for the first time with the small minnows of Pescara. I was given a £1 million budget and they slashed my wage budget from the season before. I hate you, Kev. I hate you and all your millions.
It's Lazio. They're just a dodgy club, aren't they? In lots of ways, they're just doing stuff they probably shouldn't.
Why can't Pescara be a dodgy club? I mean, I found out that I could cancel my link with Roma yesterday, so that was joyful. I don't have a parent club anymore that I sometimes finish above, but there we are. Anyway,
I'll tell you though, that first season though with Fiorentina, with those 2 target forwards, we've talked a lot about target forwards over the last couple of months on the pod. That I thought the 6'9" guy was going to be the one, and he turned out to be decent. He was a very good player for me, did really well. But the other one, the 6'6" target forward that we renamed on the stream because that's what we do on our streams in a lot of ways, he was amazing. He was really great and actually could play both striking roles really well because on his feet he was excellent as well. So yeah, that was an extraordinary first season. I don't know what happened in the second. Nobody showed up for me in the second, but yeah. That was amazing.
I think the rule on which I was completely unaware of, and it seems you were as well, about only being able to be a manager for one club in a year is ridiculous. Like, can you imagine that in the Premier League? Some managers who'd never work again.
Yeah, totally.
It's that's absolutely madness. I mean, the journey is so interesting. I think you're being very, very strict with yourself because I'd argue this is season 3 almost of it. I appreciate you've done it over, but you've not done 2. You've also done like a whole season, 2 halves.
Yeah,
and this is your third. I would argue, but playing by the book, I respect that, Kev. I would expect nothing less of you. But
I didn't know how I was going to set those sorts of things up, if I'm totally honest. Tricky. But it just felt like the right thing. I've managed a club over the case of 4 seasons in Serie A, and that kind of feels like what it has to be. But yeah, I get it. I do.
I'm going to push you here, Kev, and I want a Kev prediction.
Go for it.
We sit here in August. And you are currently in Italy and not out of Italy. Are you going to do this by FM24, do you think?
No. But the only saving grace for me, potentially, is if I can do a one and done in Austria by getting the very best job, even if I have to wait 2 seasons to get it and just go in and get out. And if having won Serie A it might possibly push me to get the really top jobs from this point on, because I think it would have been a struggle for me to get Juve, for example, with the stuff I've already won. But if I win Serie A with Lazio potentially, Bayern has to open up to me, surely, in Germany, and PSG has to open up to me, surely, in France, and then anything's game in England. So, in theory, you could potentially, if I won the league here in Italy, maybe this season or next season, if I'm very lucky, you could get 3 seasons from now be in France, because you've gone through Austria and Germany quickly, and maybe hop over quickly into England, and then possibly. But I mean, if you really think about 5 days a week I stream, 2 hours a day I stream. We're in August. We've only got August, September, and a half of October before the beta usually drops. It's not a lot of time. We're gonna have to shift a little bit. I think it's possible. I don't think it's likely. So it might be that we're in England for my beta of FM24. Who knows? And then maybe that's what we can achieve in the beta. I don't know. But yeah, if you want my honest opinion, probably not.
Supreme confidence there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, this week was a nice week. This time last week, I was driving down to a little town called Slough, just on the outskirts of London, to meet up with Callum and a fair few others. And Callum, tell us about the day to start off with.
Oh, it was fantastic. We so there was about 16 of us, wasn't there, that travelled from all over the world, not just the country. We had Coach Rowan come from Holland, we had Owen come from Ireland, we had Armstrong come from Scotland, and a variety of people from all over the UK. And it was genuinely lovely to come together to watch a game of Slough. We watched Slough versus Bracknell. Obviously, this is probably the first. I don't know whether this is the first time we would have addressed the fact on pod that the event didn't happen. We obviously talked about it for a long period of time, and it would have been a significant thing for the podcast as well, because we were going to do a live podcast in the evening. Now, you might have noticed that didn't happen, and unfortunately, neither did the event. The event didn't, despite the fact we had a good group of people go down for the game. We did have to cancel the event for unforeseen circumstances, which was a real shame. Whether it will be something we do in the future, again, I'm not sure. But it was really nice that despite that, people were willing to come down and meet up, and some of us for an entire weekend, meeting these people for the first time, going to watch a game of football, non-league football as well, which is really nice to support Slough. As I can't reiterate enough how supportive they were throughout the entire process. So it was nice that we were able to support them. We all got down to the club shops. Lots of us bought different things. Some people bought scarves. Some people, like our resident Rich Owens, bought the away kit, which turned out to be quite controversial because apparently it's in the colours of Wickham and all the Slough fans hate it. But Rich now has that shirt. So yeah, it was genuinely a really, really good day and a pleasure to either meet people for the first time or see people again. And I think all of us came away from the day going, yeah, this FM community is quite a good thing. Like this is a nice group of people who wanted to make the effort, and coming from all different walks of life and all different areas throughout the country. So it was genuinely a really fantastic day, and I don't think there was anyone who came away from it going, "Oh, I can't believe I drove all that way to Slough for that." Everyone came away really, really happy, and the Slough playing Bracknell, they beat them 4-0. We had a few people go on to the commentary as well with Connor. So myself, Rich, Ali, and Steak Bake all went on to the commentary, which was really, really cool. Some of us got a tour around the ground. A few of us did a crossbar challenge, which went really well. Really, really well.
Yeah, for the crossbar, it went really well for it. Yeah. It's ungrazed.
Yeah, we did not hit the crossbar.
Not so much for the fella behind or the child catching the balls and stuff, but the crossbar was fine.
Yeah, Armstrong almost killed the child, but we'll cross over that quickly. But yeah, no, it was genuinely a really, really good day and a good weekend. Honestly, like it was lovely to see everybody. However, there was the lingering thing of there was this event that didn't happen, and there was a Just Giving page that was left there. And when we cancelled the event, the community came together, and it was truly amazing. We were in a situation where I think the Just Giving page was at £550 when I cancelled the event, and that evening it rose to over £1,000, which was incredibly touching. I was blown away. I'm not, you know, I'm not scared to say I cried. I did cry. I cried a lot recently,
Yeah,
but that was I'm very emotional. That was one of the moments where I properly broke down, because it's like, I didn't know how this was going to go. You know, canceling the event, I thought there'd be a lot of unhappy people, maybe even angry people that, you know, they'd booked accommodation, that sort of thing. But I literally had nothing of it. I had no one sort of challenge it at all. Everyone was incredibly kind and supportive with it, which was amazing. And as I say, we got to over that £1,000 figure, which was ridiculous, because that was the total we aimed for, and the event didn't happen. And then at the Slough weekend, a representative of Slough went round with a charity bucket, and we raised over £150 from Bracknell and Slough fans, which was, once again, thank you very much to all of them. That was very, very generous of them. So we basically, we finished the weekend and we were on around 1,400, I think, with the donations from the game as well. And I decided that I wanted to close it off. And for full disclosure, we're recording this on Saturday morning. The moment this podcast ends, the Just Giving page will be closed. So as you're listening to this, the Just Giving page is closed and the donation has been made. But I decided I wanted to do a stream of sorts. You know, ultimately, we're streamers. You know, like, the event can happen. I thought, I'll just stream Football Manager, you know, I'll for 12 hours, and we'll see how much we can get the total to before it ends. I'll be honest with you, crossing my fingers we could get to £2,000. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get to that £2,000 mark, and with about an hour and a half of the stream to go, we did. And obviously, as we noted before, tears happened. I got very emotional. There's a video of it and everything. If you want to see a grown man cry, you can just come and watch me. Yeah, so we got to that £2,000 mark, which was remarkable, which was then almost immediately doubled to £4,000. We had some incredible generosity from Casino Square, who's becoming quite notorious within the FM community at the moment. And yeah, so thank you very much to him. But thank you to everybody who donated, because at that point, I think we'd had about 100 people donate or something along those lines. It was crazy to think that 100 people have gone, yeah, I really want to support Mind charity. And consequently, now, as it stands, I believe the total is £6,157. Which,
79.
£79. Has it gone up since
it's gone.
Honestly, it needs to be closed. It's getting out of hand. But it is absolutely crazy to think that we have raised such a gigantic amount of money for Mind charity. And I think, Jeb, you said the irony of the situation, that we're raising money for a mental health charity, and the pressure on people's mental health this has all put us through. You know, I mean, as I said, I had some really dark weeks. I'll be completely honest with you. You know, and it was really, really hard. It was really, really hard, and to come away from it with this amount of money is mind blowing. It is mind blowing. It's beyond any dreams that I could have had. I would go as far to say I think it's probably more than we would have raised if the event had gone ahead, which is bizarre. Like, that doesn't even make any sense to me. But yeah, thank you so much. If you were anyone who donated, supported, shared, got awareness out for this, Mind is such a brilliant charity, and so many people to me during this period have sort of come out and gone, I have got this personal story and Mind has helped me, or Mind has helped someone who is close to me. I've got people who Mind have helped directly. It's it's a very, very noble cause. And as I say, my overarching message is just thank you so much to everyone who was involved, because it was amazing. It is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was those type of things. As the event was getting cancelled, there was, I remember, the emergency phone call between the four of us on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I was in the middle of the Valorant last chance qualifier. I think it was the very last, like it was the very final game, and I'm to dive into a small room to dive onto a call just to go over it. I mean, just to almost just to put your mind at ease. I think more than anything else. I think like you'd done nothing wrong, and nothing had been done wrong. Charity was always going to benefit, and we'll make something happen out of it. And I've said it many, many times this week. Callum, you won. You won this week. You won. The charity stuff was amazing.
Yeah.
It's great to see just everyone coming together like last week as well. Even on the stream as well. I think me and Kev was stuck on Path to the Playoffs at the time, which was will be a segue eventually. But we were stuck on that, and we were going into Radio. And as we were going into Radio, it was just as you hit 2,000. So we had your stream on our stream, and you hit the 2,000, and you just walked off because you were bawling your eyes out. And then we went down and we did all our outros, and we went back, and then me and Kev kind of both, I think we both just stopped because we still had the stream on in the background. I was like, oh, he's hit $4,000 now. Like, we gotta go. We're going straight there now. Like, so yeah, that was amazing to see. And then even just through like the rest of the night, just that ramped up again, and it just keeps going. I mean, I think Casino Square's been shouted out, but all those people who've just donated, like donate what you can. Even just bring the awareness that the stream's going on or the charity pages there is really important as well. And it's great to see.
There's loads of bits of this I'd like to pick up on, if I may, just very
of course.
briefly. So firstly, I'd like to say it's really important for us to say the reasons for it cancelling, nothing to do with the football club, nothing to do with the charity, nothing to do with the Football Manager brand, etc., etc. It was other unforeseen circumstances. They were all fantastic. The occasion of being at Slough, they treated us so well and gave us so many good opportunities to produce good stuff there and be a part of something, which was amazing. So that's the first thing I want to reiterate. The second thing is we raised over £6,000 for charity. And you've forgotten one thing. There's about another 1,400 on top of that through gift aid as well. We raised $7,500 for charity through an event that we had to cancel. So this brings me on to the third thing I want to talk about. And I was going to plan to talk about it on the live podcast that we were doing at Slough a little bit if I could. And that's this idea of FM community, because it's quite a divisive thing at times, it feels like. There are certain people that don't quite fit and have been, you know, maybe from their point of ostracized from it, whatever, through behavior or whatever. And so they're going to think, okay, this is not a community. This is just a bad group of people. There are going to be a lot of people in their own individual cliques within the Football Manager community that feel like this is the community that I've got. I don't always understand the wider group, or I don't know half of them, or I've never interacted with half of them. And so I don't really get the FM community thing. There's going to be some people here that look in on the FM community whilst being in the FM community space and just saying, this is not my version of community. It's not deep enough, or it's not impactful enough on me, or whatever it might be. I've heard all of these things over my time. And what I would say is these last 2 weeks, there was an event that was going to bring 40 people together in the FM community space to come and do something for charity and be involved in something. And the impact on them has been, you know, challenging for some of them because it didn't quite happen in the way that we wanted to. But some of them got fitter. Some of them connected up to new people. Some of them felt part of something. Some of them even came along to Slough and actually, you know, met with people like myself, which was amazing for me to be able to do. And then ultimately, we get to the point where we sit here, and a week after the event that didn't happen, the FM community that apparently either is a bunch of poopy heads or doesn't exist or isn't perfect enough and isn't the thing that everybody desperately wants it to be. It could be better and deeper and all that stuff. Raised $7,500 on an event that didn't happen. If anybody comes to me and say that the FM community doesn't exist, they're talking out their backsides. It does. It's there. We are built around an ideal of wanting to play a game that we really love. It's what brings us together. It might not be your version of what community is, but you can't deny the impact it can have, because look what it did. off my soapbox. Thank you very much.
No, it's fantastic. And my biggest worry last week was you showing up, Kev, because we got the teams have been announced and everything like that. I was like, where's Kev?
Oh, it was a nightmare. I left my house at 12:10 on Saturday afternoon. I'm down on the south coast. I've got to get to Slough. It'll take me about an hour and 35, hour and 40. I was going to get there by about 1:45, 10 to 2. It would be lovely. I hit the M25 and they went, nope, we like you so much. We're never letting you leave. And I was on there for an hour longer, and I got to the Slough football ground at 2:45 just as the players were coming out. It was a blooming nightmare because I'd have loved to have been there that extra hour and just be able to chat to you a bit more and all those kinds of stuff that we would have done. But even so, it was awesome to be there. It was
going to say, it was that big entrance you wanted, wasn't it? You wanted everyone to see you coming towards the stand, and that was it. I wanted to be the
mascot and lead the players out. I just missed it by a couple of minutes. They got there just before me. But yeah, it was unfortunate in that sense, but I loved every second. I wasn't able to stick around for too much after the game. I was there for a while, but it was just great. And what I would also say, just a complete aside, and I've said it before in a couple of contexts, Slough Town Football Club was really amazing as a disabled member of the community. The wheelchair access was fantastic. It was all level access in and around the actual ground itself. There were lifts going up to the bar and all. It was just brilliant. And they let me wheel on the pitch afterwards for the photos. And I thought I'd best not churn up their ground and all that kind of stuff. But it was really amazing because they don't have to do those sorts of things. A lot of non-leagues wouldn't be able to do those sort of things for me, you know? And so that was great itself. So the whole day that I was in and around it was amazing. And above everything, I'm just going to refer to it from this point on as Hugfest, because that's all it was. It was just a Hugfest, and it was lovely.
Yeah. And a shout out to Peppers in Burnham, was it? Really nice curry, and then it was very reasonably priced. And then at the end they went, "Do you want a drink?" And they just gave us a load of free drinks at the end. So it was unexpected. And we even got half-time oranges, which was really bizarre. It was like we said we weren't playing the charity game, but never mind. They gave us like halfway through the meal, just a load of oranges appeared on the table. I'm not sure why, but there we are. But anyway, that was it was wonderful, like a wonderful week, and we came back, Kev. We had the Monday off because we weren't network saving. And we came back straight into playoffs action, so straight into PvP after the playoffs. And it was an exciting week. So we had 3 new debutants in amazing Chai. Chai as in... Chi. No, it is Chi as in tea, not Chai as in...
Yeah, the other tea.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. There was a very clever way of putting it, but there we go. Amazing Chi, Davey Hackett and Barry with an eye coming in debutants. Familiar faces in CarX, Limo, and Murph FM. I'm trying to remember all the participants now. I forgot to now. Simon Maggio and Steak Bake. There we are. Steak Bake returning as well to the player. And it was a interesting draft. We just basically went quite simple with it. It was 5 European leagues. The chat removed 2, so they removed Serie A and the Premier League.
Horror.
I know, it was a shock. I mean, some people played. And then Gouda, I'm just going to do a massive shout out to Gouda, because Gouda did so much work behind the scenes. He nearly ruined the whole thing, though, at the start by trying to remove La Liga instead of Serie A. And he told all the participants, oh, yeah, La Liga's been removed. And then I was like, no, that's not how the vote went, Gouda. Fix it. So I think some people were playing for Serie A players. But yeah, the draft night was interesting. There was a few picks that we didn't expect to come out there. I think Mbappe got picked up, which is sometimes a rare pick to get picked up, and so did Alexis Sanchez, both by the same manager in Simon Maggio. But yeah, how did you find the draft anyway, Kev?
It was really, I love playoffs. I just do. I enjoyed being on the panel of them, and the drafts are a big element of that. So there's a couple of things that I want to point out from the draft. The first is, what on earth was Murph doing? For goodness sake.
Oh, yes.
He was fourth pick in the draft, the whole draft, in round 1. And he got auto-picked because he couldn't find the player he was looking for, because he was looking for somebody that had moved away from the club he thought he was at and was in the Premier League that had just been taken away. It was really bizarre in round 1.
Yeah,
so Murph, you're a special lad, my friend. Thank you for that.
Yeah, on that one, moment. So Owen was clipping for socials and he sent me that and he goes, can you edit this in any way so we can put it out? I was like, no. because every other word was a swear word. I was like, I cannot offend Kev. I can put as much beeps in there, but it would have just been beep 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 beep. It's just like there's just no point on it. So
yeah, that was fantastic. I loved that. Bless him, Murph. It didn't quite work out the rest of the week for him either, did it? In the end, we'll get to that. But the rest of the draft ran very smoothly. Everybody picked their 20-man squad or whatever it was within budget, and it was all lovely and all stuff. There's a couple of things in there though. As part of that of this week, we bought the debate back on the panel, didn't we?
Did, yeah.
So it was myself and FM Girl and Salty B with Jeb on the panel. And so Jeb gave us the thought of a debate, minute and a half, to talk about your drafting strategy. And Alice was talking about the big money signing and then bargains around it and all that kind of stuff as the way to go. And I was saying stretch your budget across the 20-man squad and make it as even as you can. And Salty was saying stuff all of that. I just want my favorites. I want to know that bloke is the one that I always use. He's always going to do it. And that's how I draft. Now, I think it's interesting that Alice won, because that's just Alice, FM Girl. She wins these things somehow, and that's absolutely fine. But I think the actual draft and then the games later in the week disproved her theory, because Jebaroo mentioned it. 93 million on Kylian Mbappe. And did he get his team through? Nope. He did not. So I think I won the debate, even though I didn't win it, because I think it disproves the whole thing of this buy your multi-billion player and hope for the best, because he didn't do enough. He did fine. He was good, but he didn't drag Sai Maggio through. No. So, yeah, that's what I can say about the actual draft. It was a really interesting one. Loved being with FM Girl and Salty B. They were great additions to our FM Playoffs panel. But yeah, the draft itself, bless him, poor Murph.
Yeah, definitely. It didn't get any better for him, unfortunately. Barry with a nice special shout out as well. Her first game, she played amazing. Chi, there you go, got it right. That Chi like tea. Yeah, and she lost 7-0, and it just got worse and worse. But for bouncing back, she did amazing. Limo went into the second half of the almost playoff show. He was undefeated, so he's still undefeated. I think he drew a game, but he still was undefeated. And then Barry with an eye came in and smashed him 4-1, and it just completely out of nowhere. And that put her like onto the final day of the season. I think there was 5 of them could still qualify out of with 2 places left. And CarX was sat in a really nice position. I think he was sat on 9 points, but he had Barry and Steakbake above him. And Barry and Steakbake were playing each other. So whoever won that game, he could have gone above them. And he was playing bottom of the table, Davey Hackett, who had not got a win or anything. He got 1 win over Murph, because Murph was useless, unfortunately. Sorry, Murph. I know he's a really regular listener, and we put him in the bin about 4 times here. But I
like you, Murph. I like you.
Oh, I love Murph.
And Sai Maggio,
was it not a good week?
Yeah, and Sai Maggio was playing amazing Chi, who were the 2 below him. So CarX was sat in the middle, and all he had to do was win, and he'd qualify. It was really simple. He had to beat Davey Hackett, and he had some big wins. He had some bizarre losses as well. And he just couldn't get there. Davey Hackett went 1-0 up, and then I think he got a last-minute goal from Torres, but he just couldn't get there over the line. It was such a shame. Meanwhile, in the other game, Steakbake played Barry, and Barry just couldn't get going. She had a very notable assistant manager. I think we all noticed that in the chat. Fletch with the sauce. I'm going to call him now.
Fletch with the sauce.
Fletch with the sauce. No, Fletch the sauce was in the chat. I think you noticed this, Callum.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something that's happened a lot, isn't it, with drafters, where you have, I mean, Ali is a good example of someone who has a notable assistant manager who could maybe or maybe not get you to win a playoff stick piano. But it's an interesting tactic, because it's not something that's not allowed. Like, you can have as much or as little input as possible. Personally, from my perspective, I like to draft sort of my own. So if I win, I'm winning by myself, and if I'm losing, I'm losing by myself. More often it's the losing side, I'll be completely honest. But yeah, so Fletch was really involved, which is an interesting one, because obviously having being the retaining champion as it stands of the playoffs, if someone was to come along with me and go, oh, by the way, I've won this competition, can I help you out? I'll probably go, Yeah, okay, yeah. That sounds like a good idea to me. Yeah. So I do understand from Barry's perspective.
It's an interesting one, though, isn't it? I was talking to Steak Bake before we drafted, because on the panel you get a chance to talk to 2 or 3 individual managers and ask them about their thought. And he's very specific to say he used to have a team of people that used to do an awful lot of stuff. But what he found was it then put so much pressure on him because he had all of them behind him that he didn't want to let down. Plus the fact he didn't want to make himself look silly on a stream by losing. Plus the fact he just wanted to be good and win, and it was too much. And so he stripped all of that away and is now drafting with much more of a sort of, let's have some fun, let's try and win and be good, but it's going to be my stuff in my way, done how I want it to be. And that de-stresses the whole situation. And I'm very much like that myself. I listen to a few bits and pieces. Occasionally there might be a player that somebody suggests in my chat and I go, oh, actually, that's not a bad shout. But it's my setup, my tactical stuff, because ultimately, if I win, I like it to know that I did a good job. But if I lose, I don't want it to be somebody else's fault, And I think that can muddy the water a little bit if you're not careful.
I'm glad you brought up State, because I speak to State quite a lot at the moment, and he's a lovely bloke, and
He is.
I've been speaking to him previous to his Super League that he recently won and his path to the playoffs, and I think his outlook on it has been really refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Both times I've sort of gone, are you nervous about it? Are you looking forward to it? He said, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I don't mind if I lose. Like I don't think he's saying it. He's like, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna meet some new people. I'm gonna have a good time. In the FM Super League that he did go on to win, he was brought in late on for Tony, because Tony unfortunately had to drop out of it, and he was brought in. And so he very much went with the attitude, I want to be entertaining. I want to score as many goals as I can. I want my games to be interesting to watch. And he did that, and he went and won it. And then in the path to playoffs, equally, he's not a bad drafter, to be clear. Like he is a good drafter, Steak Bake. Like he does know the game well. He'll say he doesn't, but he does. But he ultimately went into path to playoffs wanting to enjoy himself. And I think it's really nice to hear, because we're at this level with drafting at the moment where you've got sort of 2 sides to it. You've got the let's have a good time side, and let's prepare for 300 hours and then hopefully win. And don't get me wrong, there are some people who know the game inside out, and it is remarkable. Like there's definitely a handful of people who are very, very good at the game. But then some people will see that and go, oh, well, I want to be really good at the game as well, so I'm going to do loads and loads of preparation and then not get through. And that is hard to take, and that is really difficult. So I think the way Steak is doing it, for me, is the correct way. I think it is a game at its core, and things where you take it too seriously and don't succeed can be tough on the mental health at times. And this is ultimately a game. So I think it's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I think the one thing with Steak Bake that we noticed as well is every goal that he scored, he was dancing away, he was going crazy. And so what I do, so obviously a little bit behind the curtain. So what I do, I'll go onto people's channels who are taking part in the thing, and we'll make a little intro video. It's basically a transition. So when we go from the squad screen to the stats screen, there's something to go over the top, and we can do a little bit of blur before them. Tried to do an amazing cheat, and I couldn't find like one thing. Like the most celebration he did was he just did an OK sign, and that was it. That wasn't an OK sign. I don't know what I just did there. Let's cut that one out. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
Audio listeners, don't check YouTube.
Yeah, don't check YouTube. Yeah, this didn't happen. We're just going to blur that out. Oh, good God. But yeah, that was about as much as he did. But he even admits in his interview, he goes, I got really carried away on one of those goals, and I've never done that before. And I was like, yeah, thank you, because that'll be my highlight that I'm going to use next week now that you're in the playoffs. But we've got to come to Limo at 4-4-2. And I mean, I've taken the mickey out of it so many times, and we say it's a 4-4-2, but you go in, he has all the instructions ticks, but they're all methodical, and he has it working out so well. And we got to the end of the thing, we looked at the top goal scorer charts, and his 2 strikers, Rafa Mir and Cavani, who I think I got confused with Cavani and Higuain, because I think Salty had one of them retire mid-draft.
It was Higuain.
Yeah, it was Higuain, but I thought Cavani, he could be on the precipice, he could retire. He wasn't going to retire. He finished top goal scorer, and Rafa Mir was behind him, 9 goals and 8 goals. And I think the closest was 5. I mean, he just has that system nailed down. And I think I think personally, the playoffs, it didn't mess up. Let's not say it messed up, but it was a classic FM. It drew the semi-finals the wrong way around last time out. And if it didn't draw them the wrong way around, I think Limo would have been sat champion after that way, just the way the draw would have panned out. But it didn't happen. Maybe it happens this week. I'm not sure, but I've got to. I'm even tempted to go look at that 4-4-2 and use it on my normal save because it's just lethal, isn't it, Kev?
I love a 4-4-2. And I mean, the interesting thing is it is lethal. And here's the rub. I did this bit on Thursday evening where I, come closer, everybody. I've got something to tell you. He's a bit good, isn't he?
Yeah.
He just is. Limo's just a bit good. But what I would say, it's been on a journey because earlier in the cycle, it wasn't working. It really wasn't. And he was very frustrated by it in a lot of ways and did so much work to make it work for himself. So there are lots of different ways in which you can prep for these draft stuff. And one of them is to deep dive into the player pool and figure out how it's all, but he spent a lot of time on his tactic and figured out the best way for it to play. And boy, has it. The last couple of iterations of the playoffs, he's been absolutely phenomenal, and you've got to back him as a real top option for next week's playoff finals ultimately, because why wouldn't you? It doesn't mean he's guaranteed to win it. Of course, there's a lot of very good people in there, but he's going to cause people problems because he's really, really good and he's sorted out his tactic. But yeah, that 4-4-2, I've been playing a 4-4-2 a lot in FM23. I really like it. But his version is on another level completely. And I probably wouldn't understand half of it if I tried to, but he's amazing.
It's really funny. I entered Limo's competition, the Summer Cup, maybe a month or so ago. And I thought it'd be really funny to do Limo's formation. So I didn't copy it like roll for roll. And I promise you, I didn't literally go onto a stream and but I did use things like defensive wingers, which he uses in his system and that sort of thing. And I thought, wouldn't this be funny if I win Limo's competition with Limo's 4-4-2? And it got me through the groups. It was really good. And then I got drawn against Limo in the next round. The first time I've ever played Limo. So I was like, Limo, just so you're aware, I have tried to make your formation. So if you win, you're beating yourself. And if I win, you're winning anyway. Like ultimately, it's a Limo win either way. I went 2-0 up and he beat me 4-2. It was an absolute disaster. Because he knows how to tweak his own formation. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was amazing, and he qualified at a canter, really, didn't he? I mean, he had that blip against Barry with an eye halfway through, but other than that, he was absolutely phenomenal all evening long on Thursday specifically.
Yeah, and the playoffs are back again this week. Tony will be taking the helm for that.
So just to confirm, we did get Limo and we got Steak Bake and we got Amazing Chi through, wasn't it, from the path to the playoffs? Yeah. Can I just say at the beginning of it all, I backed Steak.
Yeah, okay.
I'll take it. I'll take anything I can get.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Also, just a very small shout out. I think you mentioned Stick Piano earlier. Shout out to Stick Piano. He got very confused with the tweets that the playoffs put out because Davey Hackett, unbeknownst to Stick Piano DM'd. He goes, "I've never heard of this Davey Hackett. Why are you tagging me in tweets about him?" Because Davey Hackett was solely using Stick Piano formations he'd downloaded. Every single one said Stick Piano on. So we joked that Davey Hackett was sat there wearing Stick Piano underpants. It probably should have been pajamas, but underpants it came out as. But
Stick was a bit confused.
Yeah, he was a bit confused. But to be fair, Davey got the win over Murph and he got a couple of draws. And like I said, it's quite nice. I like a pass to the playoffs where everyone at least gets a win. We don't want anybody finishing on 0 wins or a TJFM donut. Nobody wants that. Anyway, we are going a little bit long, so I'm going to skip straight to the football game. So now, the football game code for the YouTube viewers. It's now available to purchase.
Feel free to skip it completely if you like. I don't mind. I really don't.
It's now available to purchase. Thefootballgame.co. You can purchase it yourself, so you can play it at home. You can play it in the way it's intended, or you can play it the way we play it. I think the way it's intended is we give you the category, we give you a number of seconds, and you have to guess
and name with people who know stuff.
Yeah, and with people who know stuff and stuff like that. But because Callum, because you've said you're going to close it after the end of this podcast, I've got a bit of spare cash lying around here. every right answer the two of you get, I'm going to put another £1 on that charity total.
Oh my goodness! the
Wow.
So yeah, your pressure's on.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, mind.
I know.
£0.
Yeah. So it's players called Stephen to captain Liverpool. No, I'm joking. Right.
Stephen Colker.
No, right. Anyway, I've got 3 cards for you. They're all right. They're not too bad. So, first card up. Managers to manage Crystal Palace. I'm going to start top to bottom. So I'm going to start with Kev.
Patrick Vieira.
Vieira.
Roy Hodgson.
I'm not going to give it as not. Can I go Roy Hodgson again because he's done it twice?
Because it's for charity.
Right. I'm not even joking. I'm already struggling. Who's managed to? Oh no, has he?
I think
no.
the easiest way to say it is think of the horriblest English managers, and you pretty much have all been there.
Yeah. Ian Dowie.
Just-
He's not horrible, by the way. I just remembered him.
Steve Coppell.
Wow.
That's my era of football. What can I tell you?
You bankrupted me here. I think by the looks of things.
Has Sam Allardyce been Palace?
He has. He saved them.
See, now I'm struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
If I'm totally honest. Okay, let's go with Alan Pardew.
Famous FA Cup dance.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that again.
No,
Wasn't even correct anyway.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. Oh no. I don't think it's right, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Frank de Boer. Was he have that?
Yeah, he lost 7 games in a row and got sacked.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I was so hoping you'd get that one wrong. What's it? Oh, I can see him. I can't find his name though. Roy Hodgson for a third time. No, I genuinely don't know. I've run out of ideas.
Callum, have you got any more?
I mean, I haven't on the top of my head. Do I need one to win?
No. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So Callum wins that round. Neil Warnock, Tony Pulis, Ian Holloway, Paul Hart, Peter Taylor going further back, Trevor Francis, Steve Bruce was there for 18 games.
I question Steve Bruce.
Yeah, Terry Venables.
I don't think so.
So that's eight correct answers there. That's quite impressive. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
I feel like I probably should have got 1 or 2 more, but it's all good.
Right, there we are. Next one. You can't have double answers in this one. You're not getting the again one. I'll let you off on that one, but you're not having it on this one because there's a couple of duplicates and it should be reasonably easy, but it is Premier League Golden Boot winners. Start with you, Callum.
Harry Kane.
Just have to double check. Yep, twice.
Oh, I mean, if I'd got that wrong straight away. Oh.
Alan Shearer. Sorry, how many did you say there were?
I don't have a no. I can't.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I mean, there should be since 1992.
Alan Shearer's won 3. So yeah.
Okay. What about ones where they were joint?
Yeah,
because there was one recently where it was joint, wasn't there?
Yep, joint counts.
I know Salah's been one, hasn't he?
Yep. Been it twice.
Surely Haaland won it last season, didn't he?
Yep, there we are.
Of course he did. How did it take us that long to get to that one? I'm pretty sure on this one. I'm not 100% sure. Terry Henry.
Yep, 4 times.
That was going to be my next one. Drogba.
Ooh.
I don't know if he did, but it's,
Did 2009. He's won it
Oh.
twice, actually. 2006, 7, 2009, 10.
Surely, remember the name Wayne Rooney. Surely. Oh no, he hasn't, has he? Oh no.
Oh dear.
Kev?
Van Persie.
Van Persie, yep. You can keep going because it's for charity.
Oh, okay. Michael Owen?
Twice.
What about... Oh, let's go for Andy Cole.
Second player to ever win it.
Let's go left field. Let's go Les Ferdinand. No, okay, fair enough.
The only other one I was thinking of was Son.
Yep.
Did he
Son,
win it?
Son went joint with Salah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, Mane, Aubameyang, Vardy, recent years. Aguero wasn't mentioned.
Oh, Aguero.
Tevez, Dimitar Berbatov, Luis Suarez.
How mad is it that Rooney didn't win it?
Ronaldo.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Ronaldo, Anelka, Van Nistelrooy, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, Kevin Phillips.
Kevin Phillips.
Then there was the joint winners, Chris Sutton, Dion Dublin, who won it with Michael Owen, and then Dwight York and Jimmy Floyd again with Michael Owen again. And Teddy Sheringham was the first ever winner of it. So you got 9 there.
Well done, Kev.
So we're up to 17 points. £17, should I say. Right. Last one. There's a whole Wikipedia page dedicated to this. So this is great. I can just search and there's a lot of names on here. So
right.
See how we get on. And it is French players to play in Italy.
Roberto Martinez.
No.
Right. Okay. French players to play in Italy. My go to start, is it? Paul Pogba.
You need to Google that one. There we are.
Right. I can't think of any. This isn't my area of expertise, I'll be honest with you. Did he play for Inter Milan? I don't think he did. No.
He might have.
Right, who's French?
Quite a lot of people.
Start there.
Quite a lot of them. Yeah.
Oh, David Trezeguet.
Played for Juventus.
Come on.
Okay. It's like that, is it? Marcel Desailly.
Yeah, played for Milan.
Right, French players. This is really hard. Who's French? That's what my sticking point right now. Right, so he's French, but did he play for an Italian team?
God, if this was a normal week, you'd be so out right now.
I don't know. And there'll be so many obvious ones as well. I don't think he did. But it's the only thing that's in my head. Did Thierry Henry play in Italy? I don't think he did.
Played for Juventus.
He played for Juve.
I'm still in.
Zidane.
Straight back on you, Callum.
Yeah.
Why quit?
I was waiting. No. Get in there. Put it back on him.
Oh, no. Right. French players that have played. Oh. He's French, isn't he? Kingsley Coman?
Yep. Also played for Juventus. Hasn't he got a really weird... He's won the title every season he's played football. It's ridiculous.
I think that's right, yeah.
Didier Deschamps.
Oh, Kev.
Kev's getting into the groove here.
Yeah. I mean, I may as well bow out, but I am going to try. Who's a French goalkeeper? Right. Well, he hasn't, and I don't know any others. Oh no, he's played in France. No, not. Oh, has he? No, he hasn't. I am gonna go with pass. I don't have an answer.
This was charity as well. Unbelievable.
Mike Mannion. I don't have an answer. He's wrong. What?
Oh, for goodness sake.
Yeah, he plays for Milan. Callum, I'm going to give you a really easy thing because I know you play FIFA. Think of FIFA players. Think of foot players. That might be an easier way to do it.
Okay.
Kev?
Well, I was hoping he was going to go out then. Okay. Oh, boy. French players. I thought I'd add that one, to be honest. There's so many good, well-known ones. I have no doubt about it. Let's go for...
Oh, maybe not.
Oh, I don't know. He's been everywhere. And Nicholas Anelka.
Need to check
scrolling.
that
Scrolling's usually not a good sign.
Oh
my word.
Of course he's played for Juventus because everybody that we've spoken about has played for Juventus.
Yeah.
So. 2012-13. I don't remember that either.
This is a pure guess, and I don't think it's right. I'm gonna go with Sylvain Viltord.
Down to the W's we go.
I'm hoping Juventus.
Actually, you can click on that.
No, I mean, it's unbelievable I got this far, to be honest.
Kev?
I am running low, to be honest. Let's go with Laurent Blanc. I don't think he did, to be honest, but it's all I can think of at the moment.
Oh, go on, Kev.
He played for Napoli and Inter.
Right. Current crop. Is there anybody that I can think of currently? Rabiot.
Very good.
Did Frank Ribery ever play in Italy?
What, Frank Ribery, who famously wore the shirt of Fiorentina?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
definitely that one.
He did 4 seasons, to be fair.
Not the other one.
Yeah.
Did Bartes ever play in Italy?
That was who I was thinking as well, Bartes, but I don't think he did. Which probably means he's right.
No, he didn't. Oh, okay.
Well
Fair
done,
enough.
Kev.
So that's 11 correct answers you put in there. Players that you missed that probably would have been a little bit more obvious. Let's have a see. You've had that. Scroll down here. Gibril Cisse played over there. Cyprien. You've got Decor, Darbo, Diakate. Lucas Digne played there. Christophe Dugarry. Evra. Blamini, Sebastian Frey, Galcouf, Grenier. Got loads, to be fair. Teo Hernandez, current crop. I'm just having
of course, yeah. Why didn't I think of him? I love that guy. He's such a good left back.
I'm just having a quick look. Philip Mexes, obviously famous Champman legend. Ngotti, Jean-Pierre Papin, who was a world record transfer. Platini.
Yeah. I did think about him early, but I thought I couldn't remember.
Bakary Sagna, Silvestre, Lilian Thuram. That's a big miss, I think, actually. And probably your biggest miss, and I was going to suggest managers, Patrick Vieira.
Oh, my word.
Milan,
Wow.
Juventus, and Inter.
Yeah,
Played for all
yeah.
three. So there we
Yeah.
are. Another
Fair
ending there. 28 correct answers. I'm going to round it up to 30, so another 30 quid to mine charity.
Jeb.
Fantastic.
Well done, guys. Really,
Well done, Jeb.
really well done there. But yeah, I don't know about you, but that feels like a podcast.
It really, really does. And I'm sure Rich will love you taking his catchphrase.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. Right, do you want to plug your wares and where we can find you? Let's start with yourself, Kev.
Yeah, fantastic. You can find me at the United City FM, both on Twitter or X or whatever you're supposed to call it these days, and also on Twitch. I'm on Twitch every weekday afternoon, 3 till 5 p.m. UK time in Lazio, trying to get out of Italy. Who knows whether we can do it before FM24 comes around, but we're going to try. Come and join us.
And Callum.
You can find me over on YCallum, YCallum_ on X, Twitter, whatever. I mean, things seem to change every week at the moment, don't they? Yeah, we're currently with Slough. We've just finished season 13, where we survived in the championship. So it's going to be summer transfer window fun. And I've decided that I'm creating Callum Ball. And Callum Ball is going to be playing football the ugly way, and that is what I'm going to be formulating over the next week. I'm going to buy big brutes, I'm going to buy aggressive players, and we're going to be horrible, and we're going to get into the Premier League doing it. Come and watch. How about you, Jeb?
And for myself, you can find me on Twitch TV, something. We're on Twitch at Jebaroo, and then the Jebaroo on most other social media platforms. Also, FMPlayoffs. Also, I think we're 12 subscribers on YouTube. Go click that subscribe button. We want to hit 300. Get the a cappella version of the theme tune then, which we will do for you. But yeah, find us all there. Also, twitch.tv/Rich Owens FM, Rich Owens FM everywhere else for our wonderful leader. But we will see you next time on another episode of Football Manager Therapy. Bye for now.